In today's video, we're going to be setting up the floor plans in the project for the electrical portion of the MEP class. We're going to start off by creating RCPs for level 1 and level 2 for the lighting, and then floor plans for level 1, level 2, and the roof. Okay, so let's start off by creating a couple lighting RCPs. So I'm going to go into my View tab, Plan View, reflective ceiling plan here, so we can see the ceiling grid. I'm going to uncheck Do Not Duplicate, and you can select multiple floors in here, so I'm going to just hit Control and select level 1, level 2, and roof. So I'll say OK. Now you see here in the coordination, it created a ceiling plan, level 1, level 2, and roof. I'm just going to highlight all of these and change my discipline from coordination. These will go into electrical with a subdiscipline of lighting. Now we have our electrical floor plan, lighting, ceiling plans. So here we can see the ceiling grid that we'll be aligning lights to later. Oh, and I actually don't need the roof. Sorry, we'll need the roof for the power. We'll go into power. We'll go into plan view, floor plan, and this is the one that we want, level 1, level 2, and roof. Say OK. And remember, by default, the views we just created, they'll go into your view template mechanical plan. You'll need to look under your mechanical HVAC floor plans for your newly created views. I will set this to electrical plan, say apply. Yeah, it gets rid of most of everything. You can either set this to none and then go into your visual graphics and turn on mechanical plans, or you can change your visual graphics override here in your view template, and it'll change it all of it the same. Change them all at the same time. Mechanical equipment, okay, okay. Now we can see our rooftop unit here, as well as our fan that will need power, as well as all of the HVAC units in here. So for the ceiling plan, we're going to go in here and we're going to change our view range. View range for these should be level above. I'm going to set the cut plane down to 4 feet because we will be showing light switches, which are about 4 feet off the ground. So if you don't lower this, you won't see any of your switching. So do that for both level 1 and level 2. So now we are ready to populate our electrical rooms. So we're going to show a 480 volt panel, a transformer, and a 208 volt panel. We'll start off by loading those from the default library. So as an insert, load family, here in the default Imperial library, go to electrical, then MEP, electrical power, and finally distribution. So here we see all of the default families. We're going to be using the lighting and appliance panel boards. So we want to, and then we're going to be using the surface mounted versions of each of these. So we'll use a 208 MCB surface as well as a 480 MCB surface mounted. I'll say open, and then we will want to load in a transformer from the provided all MEP families for students. We'll go to the dry type transformer, NEMA 3R. Load that in. I'll upgrade the model. Opens it up. Say load. Now it's in our project. Alright, so now I will go into my power floor plan. Let me clean up some of this stuff. It's a little bit easier to see. Looks good. So this is the electrical room just north of the restrooms. So I will go down to my families, and we're looking for electrical equipment. So you see you have your, here's the 480, the 208, and the transformer. Alright, so we're just going to place these panels on, they are wall based, so you'll have to make sure you're on place on vertical face and place them in here. We will use the pad mounted. That just means that it is on a curb, so it has the square around it. And I'm just going to place this. It needs to be about 6 inches away from the wall. So if you want to get it exact, you can place it in the wall, like using my move tool. 6 inches that way. Move 6 inches that way. I know that's the right distance from the wall. And then finally we'll add our a 225 amp 208 volt. So now my 208, 225 here. Click and drag, and put it off. Put on this vertical wall here. So before we start renaming these things, we actually want to, for each piece of equipment here, we're going to duplicate the family and name it just the name of the panel. So you see this is the 480 volt. So this one will be named H1 because we're on level 1. And on level 2 it'll be H2. H stands for high voltage, so the 480 volts will be H. I'm going to duplicate. We'll call this H1. You want to set your type mark here, the same as your name. This is what the electrical tag reads, H1. And you'll want to set your panel name here in the properties as well, H1. There's a few more properties we want to verify here to make sure that the panels work correctly and that the the wire tags read correctly. So first we're going to set our max 1 pole breakers here. This is just how big the panel is. So right now it's a 12 space panel. Usually panels come in 42 is the standard size for a panel. So I'll do 42 amps. Mains 125. It should be. Panel name prefix separator. Sorry, circuit naming. I'll set this to panel name, and then the separator is a dash. So that means it'll say H1 dash and the circuit number. And then finally, you want to make sure your distribution system is set, which it should be by default. So this one, you want to make sure it's 480 277. So apply. We're going to do the same thing for the 208. This one is going to be L1. So duplicate L1. Same process, set the type mark L1. Panel name L1. This one is a 42 circuits as well. 225 amp main. Panel name with a dash, and you have to type the dash in. That's not a drop down. So you just have to type a dash in there. Go and make sure my distribution system is set. to 122.08Y system. And we also want to do the same thing with the transformer, so I'm going to actually duplicate the transformer. Transformer is TL1, the transformer L1 essentially. Type mark TL1. So I don't need to worry about any of the properties on the transformer here. So let's go and do the same thing for level 2. Let me clean this up again. Just hide and view by category, or you can go into your visual graphics and turn it off, or you can change the view template. I'm going to go over here and do the same setup. So a 125 480 volt TL2, place on face. You probably won't have TL2 in yours. I just had mine left over from earlier, so just duplicate out TL1. Alright, so we have the 480, so now we need the 208. 225. Drop that here. Alright, and then we're going to go to the same duplicating and renaming process. Alright, so we have our panels. Normally these panels are about 1 foot away from the 1 foot to 6 inches away from the transformer here. You don't have to be this precise, but next we're going to insert a panel board schedule template. So basically we're going to need to open up the electrical default template, and we're going to use the transfer project standards, the transfer project standards tool, to basically go and grab certain information from the electrical default template and bring it into the mechanical. Alright, so just to make this a little easier, I'm going to close all hidden. So you see I click this, all my tabs here went away. Save. We do a file, new project, and then here we're going to browse electrical default Revit template. I'm going to say OK. Say OK. Alright, so you're going to want to make sure that you have both your project open as well as the default template that you just opened in the same Revit window. You'll be in your project, so navigate back to your project that you've been working in, and in the Manage tab, you will go to the Transfer Project Standards here at the top. Alright, so you see from the Copy From window here, you could say you can either transfer project standards. This is the architectural model. This doesn't have what we need. We will go into project 1. This is the electrical project that we just opened. I'm going to say check none just to remove all of my checks because we're not going to be copying everything over. I'm going to scroll down to panel schedules, and I'm just going to check the box by my panel schedule template branch panel. Okay, and you see it here. It gives you a warning that these all of these parameters are about to be overwritten. So I'm going to say overwrite to overwrite them with the newly imported parameters. That loads into the template. Next, we're going to edit the panel board schedule. So that will be in the Manage tab as well. Panel schedule templates. Drop down and then edit a template. And here's the branch panel template that we just imported. I'm going to say open. Now you see this is the template that has all of the parameters built in and loaded correctly. So now we are going to click on this top left button, Set Template Options. We're going to set a few things in here. We want to uncheck Load Summary and Footer. So if you see down here, you have your load classifications. We're not going to be working with that. You hit Apply and it disappears. Say OK. Finish Template. That changes your template. So now we're going to create the 4 panel board schedules for our newly created panels. We don't need any for the transformers, but we are going to use them for the 4 panels that we created here. Alright, so I'm going to click on one of these. Let's see, we're on level 1. It's 480 here. As soon as you click on it, you see here at the top you have Create Panel Schedule. I can click on that. And since we only have one template in the project, we'll just use default template option here. Here's the panel board schedule H1. Here's the circuit number, so it's H11, 3, 5, 2, 4, 6. So odds left, evens on the right. And we just want to go back and do that for each of these panel boards. That was level 1, level 2. H2, and this should be L2. Good to go. Alright, finally we will import a couple families to set our tick marks so the home runs look correctly. You know, remember whenever we were in AutoCAD, we created the arcs manually and then inserted the arrowheads and the tick marks. We'll load in a couple families here to make Revit's home runs look correct. Alright, so we're going to go into Insert, Load Family. This one is in, so US Imperial. We go up, up, up. So US Imperial, Annotations, Electrical, and Tick Mark folder. I'm just going to grab all of these and say Open. So that loads the families into the project. Now we want to go into Manage, MEP Settings, Electrical Settings here. And this will allow us to set our wiring tab here on the left. So my hot tick marks are going to be short wire. My ground wire is going to be the hook, and my neutral will be long here. And then show tick marks, we want to set this to home runs only, so that means whenever we just pull a wire that's not connected to another another outlet or another fixture, that's the only time we'll get the tick marks. I will say OK. I really just want to see the panels on the power floor plans. You'll see them, at least the panels here on the lighting. We may even hide those. Really, the panels here on the power is what matters. Finally, we will rename our newly created plans. So the ceiling plans or the lighting plans will just be lighting. Level 1. Would you like to rename the corresponding views? Don't show, and no, I do not. Lighting 2. The power floor plans will just be called electrical level 1 and 2. Electrical level 1, electrical level 2, and electrical roof. And once you have that done, you are finished setting up the electrical portion.